Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. So, Mr. Z is on time ish, kind of, sort of, minute late. Um, and this is not going to be a long stream. But I came in today, Black Manosphere Show of the Week. Shout out to LAR, shout out to the Roger Report, because I wanted to read a comment and I wanted us to kind of go over a particular thought, right? And like my inner BGS found this comment very intriguing, right? About dominant women. And this comment um was posted in FD Signifier's comment section on his third channel. Um and the third channel is a Signified podcast where he interviewed um literally a chisel chin Chad, literally a 6'1" tall white chisel chin boxer who's working on his doctorate out of Australia. Like literally, like right. But this particular comment struck me. And his name is Mackin Murphy. I mean, like literally, this is like a white woman's wet dream, right? Um, and this comment right here, I found very intriguing. So let's read this. I have it screenshot also, just in case I was to lose it. And I don't want to say the person's name. I don't know if it's a violation if we say the person's name on YouTube, so I'm not going to say the person. Was for the interview that FD Signifier did with Mac and Murphy, where they spoke about um essentially men's desirability. The video is called "Talking Manosphere Myths and Real Science Based on Dating Mating Advice" with, once again, Mackin Murphy. This man's name is literally, his first name is literally named Mackin. Um. Oh wait, you guys couldn't hear me? Oh whoa. Okay. Hopefully you guys can hear me now. Um. So I'm giving this context by saying why I'm reviewing this comment, because I think it's important, especially for what we talk about here. And I think BGS would find this comment very interesting too. So let's see if I can hurry up and read it before you guys can't hear me anymore. Um, okay, let's see. And the comment says, and it's written by a woman. One thing not considered here is sexual preferences of the men themselves. And here we go. At some point, I realized that I was attracted exclusively to men who are sexually submissive. When I started looking for submissive men on the dating market, though, I found them to be, on average, far worse personality-wise than the guys I dated before. I don't feel like misogynistic is even exactly the right word for the problem. It wasn't that they did or said anything misogynistic. It was their air of hyper awareness of interpersonal power dynamics and attempts to socially dominate me or to manipulate me into seeing them as hyper masculine. Huh. I got the impression that due to their sexual preferences, let's make sure that you guys can still hear me. Yeah, it's very interesting. Let's start that paragraph again. I got the impression that due to their sexual preferences towards sexually dominant women, in parentheses, who are very rare, they had no success and fell into manosphere spaces. And those spaces condition men to act in certain ways that are distinctly unattractive to exactly the type of women they are attracted to. They might think it's scientific stats. No, I skipped a sentence. I'm sorry. They might think it's working if it attracts some women. Relying on scientific stats will always have the drawback of lack of being specific. I couldn't get the word. I couldn't get specificity. I can't get out. I can't get out, y'all. There will always be people who will actually reduce their chances by optimizing for general population. I'm going to get into what I think about this comment in a second. Let's make sure that we're finished reading it. Um, And I'm gonna read some of the comments that go to that, because there are men commenting on that also. So what I hear from this um is, and I searched for it, and it was and I found a piece of it, like a little 10-second clip of it, but I can't find the whole thing. I want to say it's 1965 or 1966. It's a black and white video, and it's a panel of black women speaking of the Moynihan report. And you had just a I want to, like I said, it's about 5 or 6, maybe 7 black women speaking on the Moynihan report, and one light skinned woman just wanted to emphasize, well, what's the problem with black women leading the community? Now, she didn't phrase it exactly like that, but that was the message, right? Now, what I got from this comment, and y'all let me know what y'all got from the comment yourselves. What I got from this comment from this lady is, I'm a dominant woman. Okay. I want a submissive man. Okay. The problem is, these submissive men are falling into black manosphere wormholes, and they don't know their place. These manosphere wormholes, right? These manosphere horrible places, these manosphere dungeons, these manosphere spaces are creating men that would normally be okay with being submissive and me being the dom. Y'all go ahead and think of all the BDSM concepts that's popping into your mind. These men that would normally be okay with me being the dom are pushing back. And I can't necessarily call it misogynistic. Those are her words. She literally said it's not misogynistic. But when and let me make sure we read that last sentence that she said again. Where is that comment? Let's make sure. I want to make sure I tell y'all the right thing. And there goes. There will always be people who will actually reduce their chances by optimizing for general population. So for all of you men that were okay with being submissive to women, but now you listening to these manosphere folks, black manosphere folks, you trying to be a man. J Lock, I'm just saying. And J Lock says, so she mad that men are waking up. That's what I'm hearing. Right? Right? So does Mr. Z think in a different type of world there will be homes where the woman takes a leadership role? Yes. Will it be rare? Yes. Will it happen? Yes. But this lady is telling you these manosphere spaces, black manosphere spaces, are producing men that in another circumstance would be perfectly okay taking orders from women like me. But these manosphere spaces are telling men that that's abnormal, so these men are attempting to put women like me in my place. Oh, oh, Calvin, I'm saying, I you know, I thought this when reading this comment, I thought of a scene off of, was it Deadpool, when him and his lady were still before the horrible accident with his disfiguration and all of that other stuff. And there's a scene where it keeps on showing them making love, and then there's a scene where like he's the bottom. And, like, it's funny that you said that, made that comment, Calvin, because like that's the scene. When I was reading her comment, that's the scene that popped into my mind, but I let it go. And then reading your comment just now, I thought of it again. Right? So yeah. Yeah. and and a comment written to her from a man says, I don't want to pretend that it is excuse me, I don't want to pretend that it has any scientific value, but my personal experience is for women that are socially dominant and sexually submissive. Excuse me. Yeah, he said, but my personal, I said experiences, sorry, but my personal preference is for women that are socially dominant and sexually submissive. And I have found that most women I pursue, because of the former um, certation, um, also happen to fit the second one. I'm a little lost what this guy is saying. Um, I know that the situations are not as comparable because traditional gender roles push men to be sexually dominant and women submissive, but maybe the correlation I observe can also be found amongst men. Wow. So this dude apparently is trying to give his own personal take of this. I don't understand what he's really saying, but what was very clear to me in what he said is that he's okay with being submissive socially, but he wants to be dominant sexually. You mean the black community? Wait a minute, wait a minute. You mean the black community? Women run the black community, but men supposedly dominate in the bedroom? Negro, you just described the black community. What are you talking about? You have a problem with finding women in that want these roles. You mean the black community, right? Give me a minute, Leon. I will. And Leon says, Z, invite me up. Give me a second, right? And actually, I should read your super chat right now. Give me 1 second because it's doing something weird here. Let's do that again. All right, there we go. And Leon says, and thank you for the super chat. It's not BDSM or misogynistic. I agree. It's the conversation I have with BGS about dating older black women. They think they're dominant. They're dominant women. I play my part. I definitely see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. Um, and let me read this woman's second comment replying to that to the man. And she says, people who are genuinely leadership type, I have no problem with. I think it's quite different for men and women because men feel a lot of pressure to act socially dominant when they don't actually feel like it. A lot of the men in my life feel either pressure to conform or problems for not conforming to traditional ideas of masculinity. But as a woman, my socially assertiveness levels flow naturally depending on the context, and I don't really feel pressure about it either way. It seems to me that in feminist countries where social assertiveness is in women isn't looked down upon, you won't so easily see this trauma in women as you see in men. Oh boy. And what I'm talking about is not assertiveness or confidence. So everything y'all asserted here is true. What she's saying is these men are not genuine in their assertiveness. They're acting assertive because they feel insecure about being in the socially submissive role. She doesn't have a problem with real alpha men, although right now she's not interested in real. And I'm only using that term because the alpha man term. I'm using it so that is something that we understand, right? That's the reason why I'm using that word, alpha man. But she's not really interested in alpha men. She wants to date men that are okay with being socially submissive. The problem is that environments like this are causing men to not be so socially submissive, right? Which goes back once again to her first comment. One thing not considered here is the social the excuse me. One thing to consider here is the sexual preferences of men themselves. At some point, I realized that I was attracted exclusively to men who are sexually submissive. When I started looking for submissive men on the dating market, though, I found them to be, on average, far worse personality wise than the guys I dated before. I don't feel like misogynistic is even exactly the right word for the problem. It wasn't that they did or said anything misogynistic. It was the air of hyper awareness of interpersonal power dynamics and attempts to socially dominate me or to manipulate me into seeing them as hyper masculine. These Negroes didn't know their place, and they kept on trying to check me for trying to put them in their place beneath me. Hey, Tiffany Cross. Get in line with behind black women. Right? Now, we don't know if this is a black woman. I assumed it was, but we don't know for sure it's a black woman. But I think it's a black woman. But even if it's not a black woman, that comment right there speaks volumes. That's why I say let them talk. Although this lady is typing this into FD's comment section, and I screenshot it. Gotta have this for evidence. Right? Gotta have this for evidence. Right? So what we have here is, and once again, thank you for the super chat, Leon, and let's read it again. It's not BDSM or misogynistic. It's the conversation I have with BGS about dating older black women. They think they're dominant. I play my part, right? So why this is important is this is the major schism in the black community. This is at the forefront of everything. Who are the leaders of the black community? The women or the men? Now, even if this lady is not a black woman, what she expressed here, we have seen this sentiment expressed over and over and over again from black women, right? Provide, protect, shut up. Provide, protect, shut up means, yeah, you're going to be paymaster, but I'm the dominant here. What did that light skinned woman say on cruise season? If I earn more than you, I will belittle you. She didn't say mistreat, belittle you. Huh? So you have, once again, whether this lady is black or not is not the point. What you have are women just outright saying it. Now, are most black women self-aware enough to realize that this is what they actually want? No. Even the ones that are self-aware enough, do they have the ovaries to overtly say this because they know what most men are going to see that as? No. Right? They don't got the ovaries to say it. But this lady does. Imagine we're in the world where a woman is lamenting that manosphere spaces, black manosphere spaces, are making it untenable for her to be the dom. Right? Huh. Imagine that. And here's a comment from a dude. I weirdly come around in what's this twisty turn way? I weirdly come around in a twisty turn way in that I like dominant women. I don't want to be dominated, and I am very much not in the manosphere. I am a man of contradictions and very confused. What? You want a dominant woman, but you don't want to be dominated. Negro, if you're black, assuming you're black, if you end up with a black woman and she's dominant, then she's gonna dominate you. I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. What? What are you talking about? And to him, let me make sure that she replied. That's her replying to him. Let me make sure. And yes, and it looks like was that it? Was that it? Okay, yeah. And she replies to him if I'm reading this correctly. I might have screenshot this out of order. And she is replying to him. Oh, I know it's not sexual domination, Leon. I'm gonna let you up in a little bit. Um, and she is replying to him, yeah, it can be tricky. I used to date normal men and then lose my attraction, I guess lost my attraction, um, towards them as soon as they felt comfortable with me and no longer shy. Oh man, the word I want to use right now starts with a T and ends with a K. Okay, anyway, I could tell you what it sounds like you actually looking for, but I don't want to offend our LGBTQ brothers. Anyway, yeah, it can be tricky. I used to date normal men and then lost my attraction towards them as soon as they felt comfortable with me and no longer shy. It was very difficult to place what the problem was, especially because I do not like any sexual content, including femdom stuff. It all puts me off. It was hard to believe I would be into something that looks gross to me from the outside. The only thing that helped me was exploring my feelings by experimentation. I might have been right about what I said. Okay. To me, too, it was initially more about attraction than action, but later it turned out that I was into some of the action as well. But if for you it turns out to be purely attraction, then that is very tricky. Yes. What? Oh, now y'all wonder why I Mr. Z said hyena clan. What did I just read? By the way, we live in a free country. The black community is definitely super open and free, assuming that these people are black. So you can negotiate something with a man. But what it seems like this lady is saying is that spaces like this are causing men to be like, yeah, about that, no. Right? Huh. Yeah, about that, nah. Better use this. Please tell me this isn't real. No, it's real. Oh no, it's real. No, that's real, player. Right? So there's this other comment. It's pause, especially on the topic we're talking about. And it's pretty long. And I'm gonna read this. And then I'm gonna read this. Then I'm gonna read the original comment. Then I'm gonna let Leon up. But remember, y'all, Mr. Z's time is short, so we're gonna try to be in and out in a little bit. Okay. All right. Let's read this comment, and it says, actually, while we're doing that, once again, thank you for your super chat, Leon. Um, and the comment says, and it looks like, is this a dude? It's a dude. And it says, so as a guy who likes more dominant women, I have entirely too many thoughts on the issue. The main precursor that I have to state is that while there are plenty of things that I resent when it comes to the topic of dating, my resentments are towards the system and never against people. Why would I want to date women if I didn't like women? Is the I get, and he poses that in a question form. Okay, I don't. Okay, whatever. Isn't it weird how when someone imagines a dominant male submissive female dynamic, they imagine a regular relationship, but when someone imagines a dominant female submissive male dynamic, they just start thinking of BDSM. I already know where he's going with this. I don't say this because I have anything against kink, but I would point out how people assume that female dominant automatically assumes kinky when it realistically doesn't just in the same way. And yeah. And it continues. Let's get back to that comment because I didn't screenshot all of it. Of course you didn't, Mr. Z. And y'all give Mr. Z 1 second because that's what happens when you are partially prepared. Let's see. Is this the one? It looks like nope, that's not the one. Where is the whole comment? No, okay, there we go. Oh boy, don't do that. Okay, my phone just did its own thing. Of course it did. Y'all give me 1 second because we had to finish reading that. Now, Mr. Z is intrigued because this person sounds weird. This is the world we live in. Um, Once again, I'm covering this because of the power dynamic in the black community and what this speaks to, right? And these people are telling you straight up, yeah, we're not talking about sex, right? We're not necessarily speaking about intimacy, right? So that's why I find this very interesting. Okay. And the second, because he has a couple of points here, I read you the first point, and the second point is the terminology that we have to talk about, the dynamic. What? Yeah, terminology. Okay, I don't understand this sentence, but okay. The terminology that we have to talk about, the dynamic of female leading in relationship means that we end up using terms such as quote unquote dominant, submissive, or top bottom that have very hypersexual connotations that make it impossible to talk about and not talk about how some women like more submissive men and how some men like more dominant women. Basically, erases us because not talking only allows space for default, which is dominant male, submissive female. Okay, so yeah, continuing. Um, and it says, consequently, of number two, most dating advice that is given to guys only applies to if you want a more submissive woman. I would further continue by stating that the socially created system for courting only really allows for male-led dynamic. Luckily, this had the beneficial side effect of getting me out of the manosphere before I was really even put in, since I knew that all of the dating advice that was given was stuff okay, y'all give me a second because it went off. Come on, phone. All right, there we go. And let's go back to that beginning of the sentence. Yeah, luckily this had the beneficial side effect of getting me out of manosphere before I really even put in, okay, whatever, since I knew run-on sentences. Oh man, I know Toyota Gramanasi will be going crazy right here. I knew that all of the dating advice that was given was stuff I didn't want. So in other words, he's saying that spaces like this was a turn off for him because he knew he wanted a dominant woman, and that's not exactly what we're preaching over here. Oh boy. Hey, it takes everyone, right? Um and this is interesting. Point four, as far as social power dynamics are concerned, guys are taught to be hyper vigilant about power dynamics. And there are so many social systems that are designed to punish men that fail to be dominant or at least show that they can and are willing to be. I often find that being friends with men can be an issue in many ways because of this. Oh boy. Oh, okay. Um, but I also find issues marking friends with women because of issues of how gender are socially separated. Bro, are you just like socially awkward? Like, what are you saying? You have an issue being around dudes because apparently dudes always want to pull their peen out, is what you're saying, right? We always playing who's big man on campus, right? We're always posturing around the water hole, is what you're saying. But then you have an issue with women also being around female spaces because of the way gender is supposed to play out in their mind, right? And Ghost Illuminati says, "What? Who is Mr. Z quoting? Just came through. I am quoting. I'm going through a comment thread on FD Signifier's third channel of a woman who says she is a dominant woman and she is looking for relationship with a submissive man. Her problem is that spaces like this are creating men that are performing being dominant, and in a different world they would be submissive, but spaces like this are perverting them, I guess, right? Better you said he got the spirit of confusion, right? um yeah, so that was his fourth point. His fifth point, and like he really said a lot here. His fifth point is men are more sexually and or socially submissive Okay, I get what you're saying. I read that wrong. Men that are more sexually and or socially submissive are made to be almost sexless by portrayals in media. The vast majority of portrayals of men that are more, please don't move up. Okay. Oh crap, it did it. It did it. Okay, y'all give me a second. Yeah, that are more sexually submissive. So the portrayals of men that are more sexually submissive is to portray them as losers and perverts or someone that the dominant protagonist is better than. If the submissive male character in question is the protagonist, then the moral idea is that he learns to become more dominant and and thus, in other words, I guess this guy's issue is that in television shows and movies and mass media portrayals of men, there isn't this dominant woman, submissive male portrayal. I don't know if this guy's been watching television over the past, I don't know, 20 some odd 30 years, right? Wow. Continuing, that all being said, I do find myself being resentful in many ways because of the things that I mentioned above. So I understand why so many of the guys you interact with are bitter. I just think that typical patriarchy, oh boy. Y'all already know where the rest of this sentence goes, right? And you're right. Typical patriarchy is to blame. And it sucks that so many of these men are just taught to blame women for a system which they didn't create. Wow. And the lady responds, "Oh, this is going to be fun. Um, remember why I'm covering this because we're speaking about the power dynamic. Oh boy, I'm sounding like Jason Black. We're speaking about the power dynamic between black men and black women in the black community, right? And black women secretly wanting to be the dominant, not so secretly, right? The lady responds to him. Of course, she strongly agrees, but she says it right here. I strongly agree with everything. The most positive portrayal of a submissive man I've seen was in Sanctuary, and even that was traumatizing for my partner. The guy in the movie has a slight manosphere vibe and is a bit mean to his dominant partner, and it's quite a sexual movie, too. I agree with the hypersexualization of this being a problem as well. When I was dating, I hid the information about me being dominant in the middle of a wall of text to avoid the guys who are just into the kink. Oh boy, all right. And the way it's portrayed in media is still objectifying women. How does that even make sense? Oh man, this is long. This is long. Remember power dynamic. How does that even make sense? If it's performative for pleasure of men, how is it even femdom? I thought you said you're not into the femdom stuff. Okay, in terms of how people speak about this, it's really telling that excuse me, meldom, quote unquote, meldom isn't really a thing. You don't see that word used anywhere. I feel almost as if I made it up myself because you did. Yes, you did. Yeah, male submissiveness is so harshly judged that my partner had a really hard time in the beginning telling me about himself. He never felt accepted enough to be open with any of his friends, even though he's quite warm and loves his friends. Getting him to see things more from the objective perspective of how he's not a problem and the society is a slow process. His way of thinking has a lot in common with trauma. He doesn't trust normal. Oh boy. If he's a normal person, would be able okay, if he's a normal person, um to be able to handle things better. Okay, I don't understand that sentence. But he also has ADHD. No, I'm still here, y'all. Y'all should see Mr. Z's face right now. All right. He also has ADHD, and that contributes to the feeling gaslit by society too. However, I see submissive men who are emotionally intelligent and not hateful. I find it quite impressive. You are a cool and strong person, and it sucks that it's so hard for society to see that, but it makes me happy to know you exist. Oh, so we end out on a positive note. Trail, Trail, I ain't even gonna read it out loud. That's hysterical, right? Wow. So there you go, y'all. Once again, we don't know if these people are black, right? And like I said before, even in a well-ordered society, you're gonna have certain women that are more dominant in an individual relationship than the man. Now, in a perverse society, you're gonna see a whole lot more of that because once again, the white elite folks told y'all they're not threatened by the women and they turned women into hyper consumers, right? So this dominant, submissive kind of dynamic is very fascinating, right? And let's read KMS's comment, and thank you for the super chat. And KMS is, who told, quote unquote, who told those ninjas they could talk back, right? They could talk back. And KMS continues, everybody, black women in this case, claim they're wolf until the wolves wake up, realize they're wolves, and start howling. This has nothing, capital letters on nothing, nothing to do with sex and everything to do with power. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what Leon is saying. That's, yeah, yeah, right. So yeah, y'all, and yeah, so that just happened. So like I said, I'm going to let Leon up, but let me read that original comment one more again, right? So we're gonna read this original comment, which has 26 likes, right, as of the reading of this comment, and it was posted a day ago. And the original comment says, one thing not considered here is how sexual preferences of the men, the sexual preferences of the men themselves. At some point, I realized that I was attracted exclusively to men who are sexually submissive. When I started looking for submissive men on the dating market, though, I found them to be, on average, far worse personality wise than the guys I dated before. I don't feel like misogynistic is even exactly the right word for the problem. I wasn't, excuse me, I wasn't, oh, excuse me, it wasn't, Mr. Z, what are you saying? Give me a second because my phone is doing its own thing. Give Mr. Z a second. And there we go. Technical difficulty is my fault. Um, and she says, give me a second. Because where was, okay. It wasn't that they did or said anything misogynistic. It was the air masculine. In other words, these Negroes know that they not that, you know, you're not that dude. Why are you acting like that? Why are you barking back? Stay in your place, stay in your lane, right? Continuing, I got the impression that due to their sexual preferences towards sexually dominated women, who are very rare, they had no success and fell into manosphere spaces. And those spaces condition men to act in a certain way that are distinctly unattractive to exactly the type of women they are attracted to. That statement is very, we're going to get back to that. They might think it's working if it attracts some women. Relying on scientific stats will always have this drawback of a lack of specificity. Mr. Z can't say it, a lack of being specific. There will always be people who will actually reduce their chances by optimizing for general population. So that statement that she made, let's go back to it. The statement she made right here, where is it? Where is it? Okay, and those spaces condition men, talking about Black Manosphere spaces, condition men to act in certain ways that are distinctly unattractive exactly to the type of women they are attracted to. Black men, you know you want you a boss chick. Why you acting though? Why are you over there with the Black Manosphere, listening to them talk? Right? Why are you over there in the Black Manosphere listening to them talk? They're not going to give you what you want. You know you want a dominant. Right. Why are you acting? You're pretending. Right. Huh. And so this link is for Leon. Um, so Leon, come up. Yeah, this link is for Leon only. Right. Huh. So, like I said, this to me speaks to is the power dynamic in the black community. Right. So whether this lady is black or not, whether the men that responded to her are black or not, this is a prevailing narrative in the black community on the low. And the reason why I said on the low is because how many black women are overtly saying this is what I'm actually looking for? How many of them are actually just saying straight up like the young lady said on Daily Wrap Up Crew, provide, protect, and shut up. Right? Huh. And C dot says, wait, what video was these comments from? So it's excuse me. It's on FD Signifier's third channel. I think it's called. I'm gonna say it to you. I'm gonna tell you what it is in 1 second. It is called a Signified podcast, right? And this is him speaking to this man's name is literally Mackin Murphy. Like this is real name. He's speaking to this chisel chin Chad white dude about talking manosphere myths and and stats and data and whatever. And yeah, so that's where that comes from. And Leon, you're on stage. Are you? Did I not add you? I added you. I think I did. Can you hear me? Okay, I cannot hear Leon. I thought I invited him up. Give me 1 second. He's unmuted. Huh. Yeah, Leon, I cannot hear you. I don't know if it's me. I don't know what's going on. Give me 1 second. Huh. Y'all give me a second. Technical difficulties. Leon, if you could say something. If you're in the comments, say something. If you are speaking and you just not I just can't hear you. Yeah, because I cannot hear you. And let me actually. Oh no, he dropped. Okay, it might be him. It might be technical difficulties or something on his end. I don't know if it's me. Right? Yeah. Oh, he said I get off in 40 minutes. I'm gonna have to end it out a little bit sooner than that, Leon, because Mr. Z has. This is somewhat of a reckless streams, also. So don't say it in the comments. You already know what it is, right? So I definitely wanted to cover this because I wanted to emphasize the power dynamic. And this lady essentially saying the problem with spaces like this is that they're producing men that resent them actually being, you're actually a submissive. And spaces like this create you and reform you to not being a submissive. And then you end up missing out on women like her. Because you become just another one of those cookie cutter men that wants to be dominant. Right? I guess in your place, Leon, Raj said he'll be in your place. Go ahead, Raj.
Oh, okay. So I miss out on women like her. Is that what you said? Is that
Man, you missing out. I don't know what you Chicago Negroes got going on. You missing out. Y'all missing out on the dominant chicks. Raj, you need to know your place. You better stay in your lane.
I'm missing out.
You missing out. You heard what she said. Spaces like this are creating men to resent women like her, or at least always try to establish their dominance.
Okay, I got it. So she wants to establish dominance while playing victim at the same time.
And you heard it.
Because that's definitely what I'm hearing. You playing victim, talking about we making people resent. No, you just ain't all that. That's all it is. At the end of the day, you just ain't all that. And who cares about a submissive man? Because women don't. You know what I'm saying? They belittle him all the time. They talk crazy about the dudes. Anytime he finds himself in a non-dominant position, and you know what I'm saying, she ain't got nothing good to say about it. So what's the problem? You know?
And then what's crazy? Even in her own statement, like she's saying these guys are successful with certain women, but not the women they really want. What?
No, you know what? I think there's a whole lot of assuming that she is the woman that we really want. See, women do so much projection when it comes to men, and they, for whatever reason, think we want a man who happens to look like a woman.
Right?
I ain't never known a straight guy to want a man who look like a woman. Every straight man I ever come into wanted an actual woman who act like a woman.
Raj, have you never heard me say, I'm sorry, ladies, I'm not trying to date Milton Friedman or Frederick Hayek. Those are two economists from back in the day. I'm a straight black man. I don't want a reformed white capitalist man, but a black female, black XX chromosome dipped. Right? Like exactly what you're saying.
I don't want any version of a man. Just real talk. You know? I don't want any version of a man. You know, and just because she thinks she's the one, and my thing is they've been blowing that same smoke up their own behalf for so long, they simply believe they own Kool-Aid. And I have always said, it's one thing to lie. But if you're going to do it to somebody else. Don't lie to yourself. So she's really, based on what I'm hearing, she's sitting there talking from a position where she is the desired model of women that men should want. Why would I want a woman like this? She don't even make sense.
Okay, y'all. So we got about... y'all remember, Mr. Z, this is a reckless stream, so we got about 15 minutes to fit everybody's comments in. So let me read Indigo's comment real quick. Reckless tax from Indigo, thank you for the super chat. And Afro National, the Roger Report tax, and long live the habitual line steppers. Thank you very much. And y'all go ahead, round robin.
So let me break some down. You know, okay, the dominance thing is just something they like to say. The fact is this. Okay. When I'm 17, I had a 43-year-old lady. Bought me school clothes and all that, and I was hitting that. Okay? This is training. Wait, hold on. Check it out. In my 20s, I made a high-up manager at the police station after I got my car hit. She called my job. About a 40-ish, 45-year-old black lady that was an HR manager called my job. I sold this lady 2 cars. She paid for 2 of my college classes. And the whole structure of it is behave when you're around me. Because I'm in control. I'm benefiting you in some type of way. And it's always older ladies because they can't interact with guys their age. Because once you get to 40, and say if you're a black guy with a bachelor's degree, a master's and whatever, you have to pick at a litter. So black women have a history of dating younger guys. And so literally what it is guys aren't out in the street like they used to be. So your behavior isn't being, checked by other guys and by your auntie and all that type of shit. So the thing is, when you meet one of these ladies, she might say some wild shit to you. You got the choice just to leave. I'll see you in a week, whatever. And she's going to hit you up. She might give you $50. She might ask you to come over and cut her grass or some shit. Literally. I just saw BGS last week. My coworker, aunt, this retired military lady, water heater was acting up. I went on Amazon and bought the heating bars or the heating coils and the thermostat for $24 or $25.
You got 50 seconds, Leon, because I have to keep on going because we got 10 minutes left. Go ahead.
I went over her house. I drained her water heater for like 2 hours. Shit was dirty. Cleaned it out. Put it in there. He started working it with the heater. Right. I come in the house. She basically had butt naked pantyhose, the ones that you see through, the little see-through top. I could have hit it, but she lives like 15 minutes away from me. I can see her when I'm out with my woman and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just playing your position, getting the benefit from it, because these ladies pay your fucking bills. They'll pay for your fucking food, literally. And one lady, I told BGS, one lady got fucked up, right? Because she brought her older boyfriend in, and this nigga had the same fucking name as me. And I said, "Oh, you dating a guy with the same fucking name as me?" And
She
he
got a
looked at me,
thing.
I looked at him.
But Leon,
Nigga,
I gotta move on. I gotta
okay,
move on. But I guess,
yeah, I'm about to move on. I'm about to move on.
yeah.
She
Mhm.
called me 2 hours later. Don't you ever fucking do that when I'm out with another fucking man and me? My bad. I'm sorry.
I get what you're saying about. So Leon is saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's put some context into this. These women are paying like they weighing. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. I get what you're just playing your role because she's paying her role. I see. Next, better you, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
actually, let's do AL and then
before I
better you.
go,
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, these niggas are getting out of line, not playing their role. It's an older lady always. Play your
Mm-hmm.
role. Don't get no attitude. You're not in control. You're benefiting from the shit. Use her money. Use whatever she gives you to handle your shit. And she knows she can't keep you, so she gonna share you with one of her friends if you have a decent education. She'll share you with her homegirls.
I hear you. If you saying be more practical about this. I hear you. I hear you. All right, AL, what you got for me?
Public service announcement. My name is A.L. Evans, and I am not an obedient man. I rebel at everything a woman, especially black women, have to say. I'm not compliant. I'm not friendly. And goddamn it, at this point in my life, I'm not even trying to get along with you motherfuckers. Please stay away from the likes of me. Thank you.
AL said Texas ain't producing these submissive men.
Not emasculate me, bitch. No.
What's going on, better you? What you got for me?
One, I wonder how those folks conceptualize that type of relationship dynamic, because
Mm,
I've seen, and I actually, which immediately comes to mind is I have a cousin
mm-hmm,
who married a guy. That's how they characterize their relationship, but
mm-hmm.
what comes to mind and what they're discussing is not even how their relationship looks. Really, that guy just, from my analysis of it and how they operate and move, he has analysis paralysis, and she's more
Mm.
decisive. So she moves quick on certain things,
I get
but
what you're
when
saying.
his mind is made up on certain shit, like that's it. Like that's his house. Like he the king of
So
that.
you're saying this? You're talking more of a standard house where she makes the smaller decisions day to day. He may tend to make the bigger decisions, and his word is the final word.
Yeah.
So the normal family in America that we know of, at least, where your wife do the day to day stuff, she make the quick, rapid decisions. But when it comes down to what type of fridge we buy in, washing machine stuff, cars, and stuff like that, he's the one.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
yeah.
even beyond that,
Mm-hmm.
like these folks don't they in that comment, she was dude was blaming it on patriarchy and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And you reading those comments, nigga, when I tell you, like, yo, my brain started hurting so fucking bad.
I don't think you're the only one. I don't think you're the only one. Hey.
I really gather that they don't. A lot of folks, when they use that word, that patriarchy word, it's like they
Mhm.
don't really gather what they're talking about. That really, if you want to contextually, it's just white supremacy from top to bottom.
Yeah.
That's what you're really talking about. It has nothing to do with male gender roles, male gender dynamics, or anything like that. Outside of the system of governance. And that's just the whole thing of it. Like I feel like a lot of these alternative uh, lifestyle roles and whatnot, in terms of this conditioning, you can't condition somebody who doesn't have a propensity to something. You can't. You can show me whatever. I'm not gay. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna be gay.
You see what it's it's as if it's very interesting reading that and like listening to her say like it's spaces like this that's not that are essentially we are not helping to foster the type of men that are okay with dominant women like her. And that to me is a first of all, thank you for the compliment. Secondly, right? First of all, thank you for the compliment. Secondly, those men exist. I'm pretty sure those are not the type of men you're looking for, though, huh? Those men exist. They exist, but there's something that's keeping you from actually ending up with that or staying with that at least. Right, and let me read this real quick. And thank you for the super chat. And KMS says, "Oh lordy, lordy, these ninjas are getting passports, not accepting my kids, making me split the check, demanding actual value from me, and now talking back and sticking up for themselves. Who told these men they were men?" Ah, it's funny because it's true.
You know what? This goes right into that ownership attitude and that butt breaking attitude. The issue she is having, that she believes we who say things that she doesn't like and tell men to stand up for themselves, we owe her submissive men. And if we're saying anything but you men out there be submissive to this woman so she can be happy, then somehow we're in the wrong.
That's you sound like Steve Harvey to me anyway.
There you go. I don't know if it's just me, but it seems to me the theme of the weekend has been this whole aspect of conditioning. I don't think it's something that we should overlook because it seems to me that instead of the FDs, the waving the red flags, so on and so forth, actually having an intellectually honest and competent discussion addressing the issues that are being raised and presented by young boys and men. It's the most maddening thing where it's like there's an acknowledgement that not everything is as it seems, not everything is well, but fuck that, you a nigga. Pretty much like, yo, fuck that, you a nigga.
If I'm gonna end up with one of you, but I said it before. If I'm gonna end up with one of you, you're gonna have to bow down. I'm not bowing down. I don't care how much money you make. If you don't respect this power dynamic, that's what they're on. I'm not saying that's what we on. That's what they're on.
I mean, this is buck breaking from this is social buck breaking conditioning. That's all it is. They don't. There is no whip. There is no white man to come hit me across the back because I'm saying something to these men. And since she can't call on these, this is her. This is like a failed or a hidden attempt to call on white men to come with these niggas. So they can start preaching the message that we need to preach so we can oversee their lives. That's what this is. You know what I'm saying? I'm upset because I don't have a pussified man to oversee. But you just said a good point, Mr. D. If she liked those men, how come she ain't just pick one? She obviously
how many of them? We got that in the black community? I mean, once again, we're assuming that she's black, but we have that in the black community?
That's in every community. She could have picked one if she wanted one.
Thank you. So there's something not. These are a bunch of weird people. Hey, I hear what Leon is saying, but there's a reason that people go to BDSM when we hear these type of dynamics, right? That's why people say the word that I'm thinking right now that start with a T and end with a K. That's in the LGBT community. Like, there's a reason why that's what people associate with this dynamic, because it comes off degrading. It's not just you're a dominant woman, you're one that takes charge, and you're okay with the dynamic where a man is less assertive. You're saying that, but that's not how it comes off. It comes off very degrading. It comes off very like, know your lane. I'm a bit more articulate than saying it that way, but it does come off as know your lane. Right?
No, that's exactly what it is. Truth be told, they don't want a man that they can easily dominate. The whole thing is, I want a dominant man that I can break. You see what I'm saying?
Thank you. Yes.
That's all it is.
Yes.
I need a dominant man that I can break. I want to take credit for breaking this nigga spirit.
Raj, I promise you can ask the chat. I said this maybe a couple months ago too. I say this all the time. I don't want a pit bull. I don't want a Doberman. I don't want a domesticated dog. I want a wolf that I break.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right?
Because she know these guys because
Yeah.
she claims she's a dominant woman, but tell me what, she hang out with other dominant women and they know who those men are. They just don't like taking those men.
Yes.
That goes to what I think one of you brothers was saying earlier. Like, man, anytime there is a guy who I guess you would say is soft or more passive, anything like that, those guys are ridiculed.
But
you know,
and
for all these women who
say that in the
they want
comments.
them,
Yeah,
it's like, yo, they catch a whole lot of flack.
Yeah, I actually cut you off and said the wrong thing because she's not saying that they're ridiculed by women. She's saying that they're ridiculed by men, and that causes them to be a bit bitter. No, anyway, yeah.
Are they ridiculed by men, or are they ridiculed by those women's actions and disposition towards them?
Right, it's her and her like that is ridiculing those men for sure. You know what I'm saying? You may see a guy do it too, but it's her and her kind that is really ridiculing these men. Point blank, period. That's why they ain't got none. Because if they wouldn't ridicule them, they'd be with the guy.
Thank you. And let me read this real quick. And Damie King says, BGS did say black women act like modern T's and LGBTQ today. And I agree. I
don't know about that one. Because I think black women were here first. So I don't know about that one now.
Oh, I get what you're saying. You say it's the other way around. The T's. Oh, damn, Raj. You know when you hear it and then you hear it again? I hear you, Raj.
I mean, I get his point. I hear you. I do get his point. But, you know, who was here first? On any large scale.
That's cold, nigga.
Hey, but no, I mean, if we're going to be honest, when they're performing, who are they imitating? I hear what you're saying, Raj. I hear what you're saying.
My daddy don't act like me. I act like him. You see what I'm saying? He was here first.
I didn't say that you're wrong, but goddamn, that's cold, right?
But I mean, like, no, for real. When you see, I will say Miss Crawford, right? When you see her, anyway. Who is she acting like? Who does she look like? Who is she performing like? I'm just saying. And she's not the only one. I'm just saying. Anyway, I see what Roger's saying. Right? But y'all and Damien King also says, I believe it's called female mounting behavior. Y'all killing me. Look. If that's the dynamic you're looking for, you live in the third most populous country on the planet. You got like 340 million Americans. Let's cut that in half and not include race. You have about 180 something million men, boys-ish men to choose from. You can't find the appropriate person to play out this dynamic with? Huh. I don't know. Especially after about 50, 60 years of hardcore second wave feminism on. Yeah. I don't hear it. I'm sorry, lady. Nah. Something else is going on. Yeah, something else is going on. Third most populous country on the planet. And 50, 60 years of hardcore feminism. Yeah, nope. That's not, yeah. No. Yeah. I don't hear it.
As far as I know, that's a lot of white guys are into that stuff. That's why I kind of learned about all that stuff from, was because white people was doing that stuff. And my thing is, if you starve at a buffet, that's a personal issue.
Hey, it sounds like she's resenting not the buffet, but the cook in the back. What she's saying is that the cook in the back is not producing the type of food that she appreciates.
Yeah, it's a lot of other men
like
that ain't
problem.
Yeah, right? It's a lot of other men that ain't black who are very much into that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew it was weird when I found it, but I know they do it, so I don't see what the issue is. You went to college, right? You know what I'm saying? You writing these articles and whatnot. I'm sure you went to college. You probably went to school with some of them guys or whatever the case is. You didn't take none of them, so why is it an issue now when you've been around them dudes and you ain't taking none of them?
Because
But
men like you, Raj, and the Black Manosphere are telling these men and making fun of them because they're submissive and they're okay with being submissive to dominant women like me.
the last thing I need to do is make fun of those guys. They got enough problems.
Right. And on that note, look, we about to end right here because look, I'm over in about 5 minutes. We will pause right here. Love, peace, and chicken grease. Y'all have a great, great, great rest of your night. Thanks for listening in. This was the Black Manosphere Show of the Week. Y'all go check out other Black Manosphere content, other non-Manosphere content, for the love of God. So y'all don't sound like whoever this lady is. Once again, we're assuming she's black. And whoever that brother was, once again, we're assuming he's black. Wow. And if they're not black, I would not be surprised. But if they are black, I would not be surprised, right? So, and on that note, we out. Y'all have a great rest of your night.